So I'm doing great. I feel like I'm doing as great as one can be considering the things happening in the world right now. It's weird. I mean, it's been weird, but I feel like I found my place and I found a way to contribute to the best of my abilities. The world has been impacting me on a personal level. I think it's been impacting everyone. So from the moment that you acknowledge or you're connected to the fact that we're one, whatever goes on with the neighbor is actually going on with you too. I think we try to dissociate from that, and the society that we built is trying to keep us separated. Individualism, capitalism, all the isms that are separating us or creating the illusion of separation are keeping us from understanding why we feel horrible sometimes, even if our life is going well. It may be because no one is free until everyone is. It's a cliche, but it's not. It's a cliche that is the truth, basically. So I feel like art allows me a lot of space in my life to look around, feel for me, feel for others. And when you feel for others and the state of the world today, it will lead you to having a lot of sadness and despair sometimes, but it can also remind you why hope and joy are that important as a form of revolution. Why do we need a revolution? It's already happening anyway, so whether people want it or not, I truly do believe that it's in the process. We need it because the world that we're living and the system that we built does not work and cannot work and is not aligned with who we are. So it's as if we kind of let many events shift us in a direction that is creating a world that is just unhealthy in so many ways. That is, we're like the only ones on the planet that are not in sync with what's going on. Every animal is doing its job. Every plant is doing its job. And here we come kind of messing everything up for them, for us, not remembering sometimes that it can kick us out anytime. So it's a privilege to be here. And unless we behave properly and respect what's around us, connect with what's around, it's just going to carry on without us. So I would love for humankind to remain here. I've always been attracted to what could be. So what could the world be? What are we aiming towards? Because it's hard to actually make a revolution happen if we're not synchronizing our goal and trying to aim for something together. I think after that, it's going to be many steps, different people from different horizons doing the work they do in different ways. Like, I'm not going to burn any building because it's not within my nature, but I will maybe give you matches, or I won't stop you, at least. I think my place is in providing love, reminding myself first always that we are made of that. It is the one thing that you can never run out of, and it's the one thing that heals and brings more empathy. So just through that, there is a feeling of connection to everyone and everything around that makes it that I can never be lonely. I've always felt very connected to others, others being people, nature in general. I tried to function in the society the way people do. They get a job, you do the thing, the 9 to 5, and you have an apartment, you do the things. And I burnt out. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I got removed from society for a second. Like, my body and my soul forced me out of the system. And that's where I found music, which healed me and brought me back to who I am and gave me permission to fully be who I am. That's one of the great things about art, and art being an artist. People kind of expect you to do whatever and to be, atypical. And that's a wonderful form of freedom that I really wish for everyone, because being able to just do what you want whenever and know that people are going to be like, she's an artist. freedom, complete freedom. When I burnt out, the start of it all was therapy, because that's what we all do, and that's even what I used to work in. So it's been about addressing the brain. But I also started making music. That's where I started, actually, as a therapy process for myself. And it felt so good. There was something about discovering the creation of frequencies with your voice, harmonizing has been a big part of it. There's something magical about voices blending, your own voice adding to each other, or even being in a choral and hearing in a choir, hearing everyone vibrate together. It was extremely rough because you feel lost and destabilized. You thought you knew how strong you were. You thought you knew what you were doing, and being completely left in the dark for a long period of time and feeling like I had no more anchor. There was no anchor in my life. It felt like floating in darkness. And it's as if through making music and finding something that brought me joy and that made me, it just felt good. Diving into that made me forget about everything else. And it reconnected me with trusting life, trusting myself that everything was going to be fine. And it shifted my perception of I'm in a void, and it became I am in a field of endless possibilities. And that alone, the way you look at things, the perspective on things, transforms the whole reality, the way you feel about your reality. And because I had nothing to lose, it felt like, okay, I tried the 9 to 5, I tried doing what people do. I never fit in anyway. Let me embrace that and just dive further into being me. So I can see where it leads, because the other way is not working. And I don't want that life anyway. So when you get to a burnout, that's why I'm saying it's the best thing that happened to me. You're forced to give up on everything that is pretending, everything that is trying to fit in a world that doesn't actually make sense anyway, and creating your own reality that is based on who you are. So instead of trying to fit in a mold that doesn't make sense, you create a new one based on your shape, and you're forcing life to make that room for you in whatever shape you're in. I also took the time to define success for me. And success was if I can pay my rent. I found a job in a coffee shop, so that paid the rent. So I figured if I can pay my rent with whatever job that is not taking all my mental energy and not making me depressed, and that I have enough energy left to make music at night or in the morning or on my time off, this is my definition of success. And from that moment, I met my manager the very night that I did the launch of the EP, and that before the launch, I asked, please send me someone or tell me what's the next step for me. He appeared and he said, hello, I don't know anything about the music industry. I cannot promise you any kind of money or success in the conventional sense, but I would love to start a journey with you, learn about the industry, manage you, and I would make sure that your art remains authentic, that you have the means to create it, and all the freedom to make it however you want. So that was perfectly aligned with the new definition I had of what success was. And then the journey began. I did whatever was me and found the people who connected with that. People call it niche sometime. What does it really mean? It means that you're talking to a specific kind of people who resonate with it. And if you're trying to speak to everyone, I don't think it can go as deeply, in my personal opinion. Maybe it can, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to feel safe with the people who connect. Perhaps we're fewer, but we're going on a deeper level. And that also helps the circle of validation where, funny enough, I started getting external validation after I had already validated myself. So it's as if 10 years before that, I had received all that attention, I would have been so happy. I would have felt like, oh my God, finally the validation telling me that I'm on the right path, etc. But when I decided, this is my life, this is what feels good, I am allowed to do what feels right and feels good to me. And if I'm the only one to believe it, it's enough. It kind of shifted the way I approached music and arts in general. You know, it's always nice to hear people saying, oh, you're doing a great job. But in reality, I know that I'm being myself and this is my job. And I know I'm doing it to the best of my abilities every day. And it also felt like it made me realize that the validation that I was receiving was not even for what I was doing, really. It was validating that I had the best team, that I had chosen my team properly, that I had trusted my instincts, and that it brought me where I am. So validation is a very strange concept, but for sure, if it starts from within, there is something so much more powerful and it will never run out. So that's why I would like to encourage everyone to self-validate and not get caught up in trying to seek something outside that is really just trying to fill a cup that has a big hole at the bottom. It's been an amazing journey since. It's been nothing but joy and respect and deep care for art, but also for the well-being of anyone involved in the process. So finding someone perfectly aligned with my values, and also both of us saying we're not trying to make money from art. We're trying to make sure the art exists in the most honest way, is another privilege and another beautiful gift. And what I realized years later is if I had tried to make money with music, I would probably not make money with music right now. The only reason that I'm actually living from the art now is because I allowed myself to make it without caring whatsoever what people thought, not caring if it would sell or not, just doing what felt honest and true. And it led me to actually connect with people. It's like if they can see who you are, then they can actually come to you. If you don't show yourself, the ones who are meant to connect with you can never see you, and therefore you're just locking yourself in the pretending or trying to please a system that needs breaking. Being vulnerable can be very raw as a feeling. I used to worry about being too vulnerable because it hurts sometimes. Now I welcome it and I'm grateful even for the pain that can come with it because, again, it's a matter of perspective. I realize that it's a gift that we all have. And if we decide to put an armor on, then we're also blocking the sunlight. So yeah, the wind can be a bit, ugh, but the sun is nice. So I welcome the vulnerability now way more than before. And I feel like by doing that, I'm also more sensitive when it comes to knowing how to surround myself. So I will not just let anyone in my close circle because I do need the soft. I do need to feel seen and welcomed as I am. And I think it's a big part of welcoming ourselves as we are. The people around do matter. The circle of softness that surrounds you and love is going to be a part of allowing ourselves to be more vulnerable. I've always felt very attracted to whoever was being fully themselves and there was no mask. So people who come to me wearing a mask, I can feel, it's like I can see the mask and it makes me very uncomfortable. So I'm always trying to see who's behind. Can we actually connect from heart to heart as real people? Drop the small talk. Let's just go straight in. How we're feeling, how we're doing. When people ask, how are you? I don't want the, oh, great. I want the real answer. How are you? So accepting that about me allowed me to also look for that in others or try to encourage others to meet me there instead of me always trying to adapt to the small talk or whatever superficial conversation might be going on. It made me realize I have the power to just not engage in that and instead suggest another place we could go. I also want to respect wherever people are. So if that's not something they're comfortable with, I will definitely not push it. But what I discovered with time is that most people want to connect for real. We're just used and conditioned to meeting people and the small talk and trying to act in a way that is conforming to whatever we were taught. But in reality, we're all craving honest, deep connections. And perhaps we don't always have the courage to do it. I didn't before. And from the moment that I started doing it, I was met with others who were dying to do that, but didn't know if it was a safe space to do it. I've noticed how life has a way to bring me everything I need in ways I cannot expect. So by trusting the process, it made it that even when a door looked closed, I would tell myself, if it's closed, it's because I'm not supposed to go there. If I didn't get that thing, it's because maybe on my way there, I was going to get hit by a car. So with that thought process, it makes it that everything feels like a blessing all the time. It can be seen as denial, of course, but it can also be a matter of shaping my thought process in a way that allows me to let go of whatever I'm not getting and focus on what I do have and how grateful I am for what I have. Gratitude is definitely a very powerful tool. I know the word's been thrown around a lot lately, but sometimes I wonder if people fully understand how deep it goes and how being in that state it's not something you do once in a while. It can be a state of mind that remains permanently, and that makes it that everything you look at becomes beautiful. Every sunset is a gift. Every morning waking up is wow. A few years back, I got problem with my back that happened, and not being able to move and to do whatever I wanted was so frustrating. And then being paralyzed kind of forced me to dive deeper within myself. And I remember telling myself, okay, this is an opportunity to challenge that concept of gratitude. Can you remain grateful in pain, but physical pain? I knew mental pain. I had kind of overcome how do we get over the mental hurdles and those places you get stuck in your mind. And now I had found a new challenge that was about my body, and I ignored my body for so long. I felt like it was just, one thing that you have that, yeah, it's here, thanks, but let's focus on the mind, let's focus on the soul. And being made aware of my body and my limitations and how poorly I was treating it kind of forced me to look for ways to be grateful for the pain and the lesson that it was bringing me, and made me even more grateful once I started being able to move. I started thinking about how much I wanted everyone to make art because art feels good. And then I realized that if I believe truly that everyone is allowed to make art, that it involves me too. So it just made no sense for me to tell others, make art, it feels great, everyone's emotion matter, etc., and to not give myself the same kindness and luxury. So not even luxury, basic needs to fulfill this basic need that we have to make, to create, because we're born creators from talking to any movement that we make. As kids, we draw, we paint, we sing and dance, and we don't think twice about the result. So really, it's about remembering who we are and what we're made of, and how society brainwashed us that art is for artists and the result matters. It doesn't. What matters is how we feel when we're making it. To every artist out there who is making art because they feel a calling, please do not let the noise distract you. The concept of numbers is not relevant. You are valid without anyone telling you you are. Your art is valid as it is. The intention that you're putting it in matters because it's frequency. So please don't let the fear of numbers or money be anything that stands in the way between you and making something authentic, because we're dying. We are wanting nothing more than to see you as you are. And every time you do that, you are enriching this world. So forget about numbers and external validation. Validate yourself, because you are valid, and so is your art.